So you're self-loathing. That's what you're telling us.
Of course I'm self-loathing. Is this the first time you're meeting me, Dan? I'm a disgusting human being.
You aren't very self-loathing, actually.
I'm an egotistical self-loather. It's a very conflicting ideology.
You might have a higher opinion of yourself than I have of myself. And that's saying something.
that is saying something. Good for me. Good job. Good job, guy. You're crushing the game over here.
Crushing the game.
Oh, boy. I do have a high opinion of myself. It's true. I'm pretty great.
Hey, watch him with Dan and Tony. Hey, watch him with Dan and Tony. It's like watching, yeah.
Welcome to Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm Dan.
I'm Tony.
We got finger guns.
Gotta spin them, tuck them away.
We are the only two guys that are daring enough to watch movies and then talk about them on the internet.
While nobody watches the show. That's the key ingredient. Other people do it, but they're very successful.
Yes, we do it. Silence.
We do it because we like each other's company.
So each week, one of us picks a movie, and I was the lucky dude to pick a movie. And I was like, scrolling through the DMs and whatnot, and I saw, lo and behold, Disney Plus had dropped The Eternals. Holy moly!
That to you, just out of curiosity. Who's direct messaging you that Disney Plus finally has Eternals, Dan? You got to check it out.
All my friends.
You got terrible friends.
Everybody,
they're very mean to you.
And I'd heard bad things about it, so I'm like, this has to be the movie for us.
This has got to be it. Yeah. They were spot on.
They were so correct. This movie, I thought about it, and I think there's only one thing about this movie I actually liked. And it's the weird, on their ship, there's this weird little cubicle behind glass that has these little weird looking plants. Actually,
there's a little flower patch.
I like that. And I actually I love the design of the Celestials. I think those are the two things I liked in the movie.
Okay. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
I think they got everything else wrong.
I'm trying to think if I enjoyed anything in the movie. Nope. Got a big goose egg. I had to watch this in multiple installments, Dan, because I was like, I can't handle this for anymore. I got to pause it, watch some trash TV, which I'll get to at the end of the episode. And then we went back and watched a little bit more of the movie, and then went back, watched an episode, and then we finished it out. It was a 3-parter last night.
Whoa, you 3-parted it last night.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So The Eternals is a comic book that Jack Kirby created. And basically, what? Do you know Jack Kirby?
This is one of the ones I've never read. So yeah. I have no basis for my opinion, but I'm right.
It was a thing that he created in like 1976 when he went back over to Marvel after being at DC, doing the Third World and all that stuff. And basically, this is like kind of the third iteration of the exact same thing. So he did the Fantastic Four. Then he did the Third World stuff, Fourth World stuff, which is Orion and the New Gods. And then the Eternals is just basically the New Gods again.
Yeah, but less so.
But less so. And amazingly, I was the most, starting in like 1973 until now, I was a huge comic book fan, or still am a huge comic book fan.
Sure.
Never picked up this book. Yeah,
I don't blame you. Listen, there's a lot of comic books out there. Although were there that many back in the 70s?
Back in the 70s, Marvel would put out about 30 books a month.
So less than now, but still more than like you would necessarily. You're not going to go get 30 books every month, probably.
Well, figure this. I would walk into I'd go to the market, right? There were the comic books. When it started, they were 20 cents each.
That's a hell of a deal.
20 cents each, and I would have like $1, maybe a little more $1. So I'd be buying 4 or 5 comics a week. So if I was only reading Marvel, I could just about get everything.
Sure. I mean, that's crazy, but that's great. But you didn't.
No. I don't
Did
know
you
why.
get 29 of the 30 and they just were like, Eternals? No, nothing. Some a pass.
It's funny because one of my very first comics was a Jack Kirby comic, Journey into Mystery, really early monster comic. And
Beautiful.
I like Commandy, but by the time Kirby was back at Marvel, I did not like Kirby.
Okay, he fell out of favor.
He was doing the covers for Avengers, and I hated those covers.
Okay.
And George Perez was doing the interiors.
That's better.
George Perez, incredible.
GP.
Yeah,
Okay.
George Perez, great guy. Unfortunately, has cancer and is passing away right now. But
terribly sorry.
Super sad. But yeah, George Perez and John Byrne were like the two hot artists of my childhood.
Okay.
And they created the X-Men. They created the New Teen Titans. They created not created, but had
drew
big important work on.
Beautiful.
Suffice to say, yes. So Eternals is like a third-rate book of sort of recycled ideas, and a lot of these ideas feel really recycled, and then they got churned over 27 times by all sorts of different people. Neil Gaiman did a nice run on the Eternals, which I remember being pretty good at different times. And so this movie tries to sort of synthesize all these ideas into one thing, and boy, is it a mess.
Yeah, I think a mess is almost too nice of a term for me, because like a mess is like, you have some good stuff, but there's just a lot of stuff and you never really bring it together. This movie doesn't make a lick of sense. I have so many problems with just the plot alone that it's hard to concentrate on anything. And you know what? Forget that. I have problems with the casting that made it almost impossible for me to watch the movie.
What does that mean?
Okay, here's my thing. My general problem with the casting.
Yeah.
Diversity's great. Let me just say that I appreciate diversity. I'm all on board for diversity, but all of these people have different accents.
Yes.
Why? Why would that be? This Celestial created them all.
Robots.
Most of them at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Why are they all different? And I understand that diversity is good in my head, but in this movie, I'm like, that it doesn't actually make any sense. He's not, because he doesn't, when he sends them to Earth at the time, in the beginning,
7,000 years ago,
they don't even speak the same language as the people on Earth. Nope. The people on Earth are speaking a language, and then they're speaking English. So,
but more importantly, they're speaking colloquial English right, of now,
like present day English. And I can't wrap my head around any of the decisions that are made. And I was like, I can't understand this movie from the onset. It's dead to me.
In the olden days, what you would do is you would cast the movie and make the movie in British, right?
Yeah.
So
fine.
Everybody would be British.
Great.
And it would give it a little bit of otherness from Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And there would be like this sort of consistency. So no matter what, everybody's British. Make everybody British. Yep. And then it doesn't melt your brain as much. This movie, yes, you're just like, why are they using colloquialism 7,000 years ago that aren't going to be created for 7,000 years?
And then I try to understand what this... So then I put myself in the shoes of the Celestial, right? And I'm like, okay.
Tony, you eased into those gigantic spacey shoes.
I am creating beings, we'll say, to send to this planet to protect these people, quote unquote. We'll get to the plot. My decision is to make them not look like any of the people on that planet yet, and also unable to communicate with these people on the planet. Why would I do that? Why would I ever do that? They should be able to speak the same language as the people that are on the planet. It doesn't make any sense, Dan.
It doesn't make any sense.
So that I spent a good 45 minutes of this movie just trying to figure out how to make them fit into the world that we're in. And it didn't work out.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question. The Sprite character, did you know that was a girl the whole show? The whole show?
Not the whole show. Pretty, I think we were like, oh, Pretty Girl Alarm. We're like, okay, sure. But, I mean, could go any direction, really.
I thought Sprite was a young boy.
Sure.
And then when she transforms into a young girl, I was like, wait, what's happening? I don't know. It was weird.
I was confused just on the whole idea of that anyhow, but...
Yeah. It's weird.
Okay.
Yeah, also a person that's all bent out of shape about being a kid that can just transform themselves to look like an adult. Why don't they just transform themselves to look like an adult the whole time?
Well, I mean, do you want the movie answer or like what I think the actual answer is?
Both.
Oh, I don't have a movie answer. As would for the majority of my questions, it does not get answered in this movie as it should. But I think it all stems back to her being in love with Icarus, and
Yeah.
like he'll never love a child, which is something that happens in a different show. A cartoon does this exact same storyline, but much better. And I can't remember which superhero cartoon it is. It might
Well,
be.
and
Is it
also,
Invincible? It might be Invincible. Anyhow,
maybe they do a thing like that in
yeah,
Invincible. Yeah, Invincible is kind of interesting too.
I enjoyed Invincible.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those shows you watch the whole thing and you're like, okay.
Yeah. Unlike this movie,
Unlike
which I
this
never
movie.
said okay.
So we set up the Celestial. Oh, we set the Celestials, who are the equivalent of God. Then we set up the Eternals, who are the equivalent of angels. And then we set up the Deviants, which are equivalent of devils.
Okay, great.
And if you kind of think about it that way, that's where it all comes from. But people like when they're looking at this movie, think about it differently, it seems.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Everyone got bent out of shape that, they didn't help the world with Thanos, even though they retcon in a bunch of really stupid things in this movie.
I have a huge problem with that.
Do we
want to talk? Do we want to talk about that first?
Sure.
It didn't bother you? Okay, Dan, let's talk about it right now. The movie excuse is that they're not allowed to interfere with human affairs, right? They say
not supposed to.
Right. Yeah, they're not supposed to. They say that a bunch of times. Here's a bunch of problems I have with that. Number one, they do it all the time. They are constantly meddling. They're giving them equipment, getting them technology that ends up killing other people in wars. That doesn't make any sense. But on all of that aside, Thanos is a Celestial, right? Or no. Which one is he?
Thanos is a Titan.
No, well, hold on. Which one are the Eternal? He's an Eternal. Sorry, let me go back.
No,
yes, Thanos he is because his brother comes in at the end of the movie and claims himself to be an Eternal.
Well,
he says, I'm the brother of Thanos and I'm an Eternal. He says, hello, fellow Eternals. So in this movie,
I guess
Thanos is an Eternal, or at least related to an Eternal. So that's no longer a human affair. So them getting involved is 100% what they should do because they are Eternals fighting an Eternal who's meddling in human affairs. Doesn't make any sense.
That's true.
Stupid movie.
And I mean, that's the whole sort of thing is the Eternals in the real comic books. They're all over the place. They're on Titan. That's all that stuff on Titan with Starfox and all that stuff. And okay. So it's just kind of stupid.
I mean, it's all stupid. That's my problem with it, is that none of this makes any sense in not only by itself, but also in the MCU. Neither of those things work. This movie needs to be deleted.
Yeah, because they kind of set them up as like this sort of separate thing that is separate until the movie occurs, and then it all becomes not separate.
Right.
And it's just kind of messy that way. It sort of assumes that there isn't a Marvel universe until they decide something is in the Marvel universe.
Right. Yeah.
And then they sort of blip into existence in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
It's kind of dumb. So
it's very dumb.
We sort of meet them back. Did you notice that the aspect ratio kept changing?
No. I didn't.
It was weird. Yeah, it did.
Was it going from like 4:3 to 16:9? Like
not
there's
just back and forth.
Bars?
I mean, it was like little subtle black bar changes, at least on my computer, which I thought was really weird.
That is weird.
So they're there to fight the Deviants so that the humans can grow and be human-y.
Also,
and so we have this.
Hold on real quick. Another point on Thanos is he deleted half the population. That is literally in direct opposition of their mission. So they should have stepped in, but it's fine.
Yeah,
Anyhow,
they should have.
Anyhow, you can continue.
So we start this whole big deviant fight. The deviants are kind of like these dinosaurs,
Yeah.
that are terrible, that are just completely uninteresting and completely stupid and completely boring. And
Yep.
every one of the fights has literally the least amount of tension that any fight has ever had.
The fight choreography of this movie is atrocious. Just some of the most bland, boring action sequences I have ever seen in my life. And I think it's like even more stark of a contrast because the movie that came out either right before this or right after this is Shang-Chi, right?
Ooh, I think right after.
Right, which
She's
is
so
the
good.
best.
Yeah.
It's the best. So like it's tough
Well,
for the Eternals.
it always goes back to my whole point is you have to have the perfect director like Taika Waititi on Thor to make a movie about non-humans. The human movies they do pretty good on. They have a pretty good track record. But when you get to Captain Marvel and you get to this mess, it's like they're so inhuman that you've got to really find. And it's strange. Chloe Zhao, who did this, is you would think the right person to try to find that humanity, but they didn't let her find it at all.
And so here's why I have a problem is that not only do they not find the humanity, but then she also can't direct action sequences.
Yeah.
So both aspects of the movie fall flat, and it's a real bummer.
This movie should be hyper depressing, is the thing. That's
For
that's
sure.
the movie they should have let her make.
Yeah.
And they should have cut out all the jokes. Nobody's a jokester in this.
Are there jokes in this movie, Dan?
Oh, there's tons of jokes in this movie.
I know that was a joke. Ha ha ha! Gotcha.
Just as not funny as all the jokes in this movie.
Oh, Dan, it was way funnier. Egg on your face. Yeah, this movie was. Those jokes do not land. I mean, a couple from what's his name?
Kingo.
Yeah, but in general, tough stuff.
I mean, that's the one good thing you could say about this movie is you don't remember the actors' names. You actually remember the terrible characters' names because you don't feel for the actors. They actually are these terrible characters.
Yeah,
not good.
Yeah.
So they fight the dinosaur. We see their cool big ship that's a big triangle. Ship is incredible. Looks great. I love it.
Yeah, sure.
But of course, they just fly it in there, which is weird. Yeah. Who knows? We have Mind Control McLovin, who is like,
Mr.
So
Irish
terrible.
Man. Yeah.
Now, so right at the beginning, they take this knife. They give this knife to this little kid, right?
Yep.
And then we cut to this knife being sold in an auction in present day.
Yep.
And that means nothing.
Not only does it not mean anything, but they don't mention it again. It doesn't become part of the story. That's it. It's referenced one more time and then it's done forever.
Oh, they reference the knife again?
No, sorry. That is the one more time. The billboard is the one more time. And then we never see it or hear from it again. But the movie starts with that. It makes it seem like it's super important. It's like, oh, look at this knife. Hey, they're selling it. Anyhow, back to the movie. What is going on?
It's so weird.
I hate this movie, Dan. This movie was not good.
What's her name? Cersei is teaching kids, but she doesn't show up for her own class, and so her boyfriend has to teach the class, which is really, really weird.
And also not funny.
No, not
I thought that they were going to make a joke out of it, and maybe they tried and it didn't land, but it wasn't. But Kit Harington, just a beautiful man. He needs to be in this movie way more. Because he disappeared. He's in it he's charming, super charming in the beginning. I'm like, oh, great. This is fun. He's going to be the secondary character. Disappears for 2 hours.
She never even calls him on the phone. Nothing. Nothing for the bro.
Just leaves him behind. Then he pops up at the end of the movie and I was like, too late, Kit.
Yeah, he's going to play the Black Knight in the next movie, which they're not going to make.
Oh, they'll make it. They don't give a shit.
So there's a deviant in the river. He's swimming around in the river, and now Sprite shows up. Sprite's like the little girl who's in love with Icarus, And then the deviant in the river attacks. Like, isn't it really weird? They're like walking home, and she's like talking to Sprite, and Kit Harington's like walking
up ahead,
like 6 miles ahead of them.
6 miles. Yeah.
And you're just like, I do not understand this.
He's clearly out of earshot because they're not whispering at all. They're talking in full voices. And so he's got to be at least a football field away.
It's so weird. And so the deviant jumps out of the water and starts attacking. And then Icarus is just there. Poof. Which we'll find out why he's just there. Poof. Later. Yeah. Whatever.
So before we go any further, Dan, I have problems with this setup.
What's
because it's just super clunky and weird. Like, Kit Harington immediately is like, when they're in the bar, he's like, hey, are you a wizard?
Oh, yeah, he does a whole weird thing.
Where does that come? Listen, we can't jump in at the tail end of his journey of discovering his girlfriend has superpowers. That's a super weird place for the movie to start.
Yeah.
Especially when, again, he isn't even part of the movie. So we get this weird, like, story at the beginning of, like, oh, he's going to have to come to terms with his girlfriend being... Nope, he just automatically is on board. He's like, oh, cool. This is great. Anyhow, let's go back to snogging, as they say in Britain.
They do. So they fight the monster.
Is Britain the right term anymore?
You can say Britain, sure.
Great, I said it. Nailed it.
There's, like, a big fight, and Kit Harington actually gets a good joke where they go up this side of the river, and then he can't jump, like, this little fence.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, because he's charming.
He's charming.
Because he's cute and charming, and we love him, and we need more Kit Harington in the world.
We spend like 2.5 hours with stupid, grumpy Icarus.
Oh, the wrong Stark brother. Boy, oh boy.
Who is he?
He's the... Oh, God, I'm going to forget the names. He's Stark. He's the Red Wedding Stark. The older Stark. The older brother.
He was in Game of Thrones?
Yeah. Yeah, they're both Starks. Yep.
Oh.
That's why it's also funny to me because he has to say Cersei all movie, and I was like, I wonder if that puts a bad taste in his mouth. Good joke.
So there's a fight. It's like dumb, and it ends, and it's dumb. So they're just like, okay, we gotta find the team. So that's the plot of the movie is find the team.
Yep, and then we just leave Kit Harington. Just leave him behind.
Bye-bye.
Doesn't even matter. She's just like, okay, gotta go. See you later.
So now we go back to 575 for this random fight in Mesopotamia, which is another random fight that's boring as can be.
I have questions just based off of my lack of knowledge of the world.
Yeah.
Are these dates important in history? Or is this just like random? I was like, wait, maybe these are like the moments these civilizations actually did something and I just don't know it.
Well, I mean, Mesopotamia was the cradle of culture and human whatever endeavor.
But was it like destroyed in 575, and they're just like retconning what happened to them? That's what I don't understand.
575 is probably like basically basically it's the center of civilization. That's it. You know, just like the other thing was kind of the center of civilization when it started. 5,000 BC. It's like
so we think that these dates don't actually matter.
I mean, are they important dates in human history specifically? That year? No, but that time period, sure.
Here's what I thought was happening. I didn't understand it. Was like that's a real world event that happened in our universe, but they're saying that these Eternals were the ones that actually like did it. I think that would be cool. If that's not what they did, then I hate this movie even more, and this shouldn't be in the movie.
So you're like kind of it's Forrest. You're like these are Forrest Gump moments where
100%.
These are pivotal times where one thing swings in one direction and that changes everything.
Yeah.
No.
Great.
No, not at all.
Well, then fuck this movie, Dan.
So they're all in the ship. Ajax, who's played by what's her name? Selma Hayek, barely in the movie.
Yep. How much do you think that cost them? Because she's got to have a nice price tag on her.
So here's the real question is, who's more checked out, her or Tomb Raider? Angelina Jolie.
Angelina Jolie. It's got to be Selma Hayek because she probably showed up for only 2 days. She was probably on vacation, and like she came in, she's like, am I doing a movie? I don't know. What are the lines? Give me cue cards.
Who's more emotionally checked in the movie?
Kit Harington.
There's
Boom! Bringing it back full circle. Nobody wants to be in this movie, I don't think. I mean,
nobody
actually,
wants
that's not true.
this.
The main girl, I think, is good. The main woman.
She's great. She's going to go on to great things. It's really sad because if this movie was actually about her somehow,
Yeah.
which it presupposes to be,
Yeah,
if
from
it
the
was
first
really,
20 minutes, it seems like it's her movie, and then guess what? It's not. It's not
if
her
she
movie.
if it was really just like her like going from place to place and her sorting out this thing and then maybe them all coming together at the end, it might have been a movie. There could have been a movie in here.
Might have been. Yeah, might have been.
So the guy Festus who makes stuff, he's gonna give them like the combustible engine, and they're gonna all drive around in jalopies. But instead, they're like, "No, just give them the plow."
So here, okay, again, I got to talk about this because it frustrates me so much. He makes the steam engine in the cloud, whatever. I don't know what he's doing. The iCloud.
Cloud.
Yeah, he's doing it in the iCloud. And she's like, no, it's too soon. They can't handle this, whatever you call it.
She doesn't know what it is, but she says
doesn't know what it is, but she knows it's too soon for them. What does that even mean? She doesn't understand what she's looking at. So she can't be like, they can't have that yet. They can't have it yet. They have to wait and figure it out on their own. Are they going to figure it out on their own? You don't know what it is. You're an Eternal. I don't know. I flipped out at this scene.
It's kind of interesting because when I think about everybody in the film, they're all sort of tonally, except the Cersei girl, tonally exactly the same.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
The guy that makes the stuff, the guy that punches, that they all sort of fill tonally the same sort of space, and you have no feeling about them.
100%. Dan, here's a question. Now that you're bringing up powers a little bit, if you're a Celestial and you're making super-powered beings to go fight things, are you going to give them all different powers? Just give them all the powers. You can do anything you want. You're a Celestial.
You got to make them like the Fantastic Four of the Justice
League. I disagree. I think that's a bad plan because then they all have weaknesses, Dan. If you make them all powerful, then you're good to go.
So 400 AD, India, Icarus, and Cersei get married. Did they ever even explain why they became unmarried?
No, but I assume they got some divorce lawyer involved. They got the correct papers because she doesn't think they're together. I don't know how that works, but she thinks they're done.
They don't explain any reason why the two of them wouldn't still be together, right?
I think they just say he left. He just kind of left at one point. I don't remember, but I swear like the one line was like, and then he just left and never came back. And she's like, I kept waiting for him. I don't know, man.
Like, and he doesn't explain that, and there's no point in the movie that explains it. Well, he wouldn't explain it
because he's the one that did it wrong. He doesn't want to bring that back up. Like if I'm Icarus, I don't want to talk about why I abandoned you. I want to just pretend I didn't and move on in the relationship. That's an alpha move right there.
So they drive to Ajax's house. She's dead.
Super
dead. The
dead.
little ball that's like in her that lets her talk to God goes into Cersei, and now Cersei has to talk to God, and God's like, it's almost time.
Do they all seem surprised by this orb, or was it just me? When it flew out of her chest and flew into Cersei's chest, didn't they seem like, hey, what's going on? I don't know what this is. And then she's like, oh, it's the orb that allows her to talk to the guy. I don't know if that's true or not. It's what it felt like. It felt like they had no idea what it was. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't really matter.
Okay, so then we cut back to 1521. The conquistadors are killing all the Indians. Mm-hmm. And then Thena tries to... then we bring in the thing that is like literally maybe the dumbest thing in this movie. And this movie has a lot of dumb things.
Yes, it does.
She gets the mad weary, which is like
she's super tired.
An eternal disease where you want to just kill your friends instead of doing anything else.
I don't think that's what it is, Dan.
Yeah,
but that is exactly how it comes across. Because it's
So in the middle of a fight, she gets this, and so they're fighting the monster, and they're having to fight her, and it's a thing.
And they try to explain it by saying, like, she's having the memories of all the other worlds that they've destroyed.
I guess.
And so she's, like, mad or something?
I
didn't understand the reasoning. But I also was confused because Why is she? It seems like she only sees her friends in that moment. Like she stops fighting the monsters
Yeah. And
who
wants to
are
kill her
also
friends.
trying to kill humans.
Well, she's not even she's not, the only thing that the disease does is make her want to kill her friends.
That's not a disease, Dan.
It is in this movie. It's a magic disease that makes you want to kill your friends.
But it's specifically your friends. I don't like it.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And so the hammer puts her down, and then they're like, we've got to erase her, which seems like a strange thing that they would know how to erase their friend.
And nobody questions it, right? She's just like, I'll bring you to the ship and we'll erase your memory. And no one's like, wait, whoa, we can do that? Everyone's just kind of like, no, let's not do that. As if they already know and are predisposed to the idea, but are like, hey, you'll forget who she is. Let's not do it.
And when they do find out that they're all just sort of robots, essentially, they take that kind of like, what? We're robots? What?
Yeah.
Which, like, if you said to me, I could take you and change your memories, I'd be like, oh, I'm a fucking robot. Damn.
No, that's my first thought. Is like, oh, you're going to reprogram me. Great.
So then we have a big thing about how McLovin wants to control all the humans to make them not kill each other or something.
Yep. And so somehow those two things are what break up the group. Those things, A, seem unrelated to me.
Yeah.
And B, none of it seems all that bad. Like, it's not different. Like, you could never control them to stop them. That's your whole mission, is to not interfere with human stuff. So you can't do it, Irish guy.
Yeah.
And then the erasing thing is like, we either erase her or she's going to try to kill us all the time.
Well, the one guy takes charge of her. So I guess they decide to all go in their own directions. And so
it just doesn't make any sense.
McLovin's going to go control some people, and then other dudes, Gilgamesh is going to just sit on Thena, and the others are just
that's how he controls her. He just sits on her. You can't get up. You can't get up.
Then Thena and Gilgamesh are just going to go hang out. Yeah.
But here's the thing is, like, they say in the beginning crawl, which it was very confusing to me. They lost me immediately at this movie because I was like, what the fuck did I just read? I can't wrap my head around. But they said they trusted her until something happened. This is the thing that happened. Ajax. Because they worked together for so long until one fateful day they stopped trusting her. That's not exactly what the crawl said, but it said something. And this is supposed to be the catalyst that is like why they stopped trusting her. And I was like, I don't see any reason to stop trusting her at this point. She's only looking out for everybody.
Well, more importantly, she didn't do anything to.
She didn't do anything.
Everybody just decided to do their own thing. It's not a lack of trust.
So weird.
Everybody was just like, maybe the egos of them egoed up is basically what happened.
I totally get. I've got an ego. It could drive you crazy.
So now we go to Bollywood and we meet Kingo. And immediately we start, and it is literally the worst Bollywood dance sequence ever.
Now, who do you blame for that? Because I've gone back and forth.
I guess Camille can't dance, and so they didn't do it.
It does
or maybe
seem
the director,
that way, right? It seems like he is incapable of pulling this off, so they had to like dumb down the choreography of everyone to make it look like he's at least on par with these people. That's what it looked like to me, and I love him. I love him to death. But that's what it seemed like.
He's super funny. And
great. Super funny.
He doesn't necessarily land the jokes in this movie, but
not entirely his fault. When you're delivering jokes to a wall, sometimes they're not going to land.
Yeah, I don't blame him for the jokes not landing because this movie shouldn't have had the jokes. He's not the character to give the jokes, sort of.
100%. Because he's so tangent. Listen, he shouldn't even be in this movie. No. He does nothing in the movie.
Oh, he does less than nothing.
It's so bizarre. He's in the movie, and then he's like, you know what? I don't want to be in the third act. I'm gonna piece out of the big battle, and then he comes back like at the very, very why is he in the movie?
It is the weirdest thing I think in the movie. In this weird movie that you don't understand, his. If you want to call it an arc, it's not
an arc. What is the opposite of an arc? And I don't even know, but he just disappears. He doesn't do anything. And then his literal line is like, I don't want to do either of these things, so I'm going to leave. He doesn't do anything. I don't know why he's in the movie.
I mean, kind of actually the one thing you could say about this movie is it's kind of like real life, right?
But
because you're going to have a person that's going to get to that point. He's going to be like, yeah, I got to peace out. And then
I
he's going
got
to
things
peace.
to do.
It's like in Star Wars, if Han Solo did exactly what Han Solo would do, which was peace out, good luck, I'm taking my money and I'm leaving.
Yeah, I'm taking my money, I'm taking my ship, and I'm getting out of here because I want to live.
I want to live. Yeah. And what makes Star Wars a great movie is he flies out of the sun and fixes things. But in real life,
you cheer and you're like, yay, Han Solo, he is a good guy, but he's not.
In real life, he's peaced out and living his life, and he's not there to die because you could have died on that island. So he makes a funny vampire joke, and then he's got like this old guy that's like videotaping him. Best character in the movie.
Oh, I mean, 1,000,000%. That I want the movie to be about them.
Yes,
that's what I want. Their relationship, and then this guy just like being such a fan and being like, "Thank you for trying." When he's like, "Thank you for doing what you did for," they didn't do anything up to that point to earn his praise. But that was like the one part of the movie where I was like, I feel connected to this character, the only character in the movie,
because he's a human being.
So bizarre.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess they got that right. They played the Eternals like they're not human beings because they weren't human beings.
But isn't the movie about... I feel like the thing they're trying to like push on you is that humanity is a good thing, right?
Well, the whole point is this whole movie, they should be like weird robot things that are doing a thing.
And learning humanity.
Well, then no, they don't learn. Or maybe they learn, maybe Cersei is the one that actually learns humanity.
Somebody does, because there's no reason for them to save the humans. I don't believe for a second that this group of non-human people would choose to save the Earth. I don't, because they have no connection to these people. Almost all of them complain about humanity, and then they're just, I don't know. Like Druig says a line, he's like, yeah, humans suck, but like without their flaws, I'm not controlling them because without their flaws, that's, they're not human anymore. But he doesn't like humans.
Druig is the worst character in the movie because Druig doesn't make any sense.
Nobody makes sense in this movie, Dan.
Cersei does a little bit. She's trying to. There's a thing about her. Icarus says it to her at one point. She's like, "You love these people like no one else could have." Icarus, not a human being.
No, he's not even trying though.
He's like Superman. Good. He's like what Superman really would be, which is like this alien presence that.
Yeah. Ugh. Again, in a very everyone loves like a dark Superman tale. They don't do it very well in this movie, obviously. But I hope that they now see, Marvel that is, how difficult it really is to make an interesting Superman character. It's not easy. Everyone makes fun of Zack Snyder. And I'm just like, guys, it's hard. He's a tough character to do well. So get off his back.
No, Superman's the hardest character.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So get off Zack's back. Zack back.
Well, and that's why you have to give it to what's his name who played Thanos. Thanos is just as hard, and he like weaved through that character.
Yeah,
the whole
very good.
Yeah, he acted the hell out of Thanos, and you were like, he's vindictive and horrible and mean and cruel and kills his children, and yet he loves them.
And yet, yeah, very interesting stuff. This character, not interesting at all. Also, all he does is eye lasers, and very carelessly. Like he's lasering everything. He has no regard for anyone's safety. I wish that we were in reverse angles every time he uses his lasers, just so we could see people getting chopped in half everywhere, because they definitely are. There are limbs everywhere.
So they fly in Kingo's jet to go get Thena and Gilgamesh. And then Thena's, being weird and sitting by a tree or something. And then we have a comedy lunch.
Was it funny?
And then Cersei talks to God. And God explains everything. Explains that they don't have real memories. It's all fake. They come from this factory that's out in space. and they send the deviants to the planet to eat the creatures that are there, which doesn't make any sense.
Oh, good.
And
This is where we're going to talk about this.
then
Continue.
they send the Eternals, some Eternals there to kill the deviants that were supposed to do the deviant thing, or the deviants got smart or something.
Okay,
And then there's an egg inside the planet, and then the egg's going to hatch, and then it's got to eat all the. Hold on, okay, going to eat all the people, and then it's going to make new suns. Now, then, let me time out really quick. This is the same as Galactus. Galactus would cruise around the universe. I mean, this is from the same guy, Jack Kirby. He made up both of these things. Galactus 100%. Would go to the planet. He was so large and tall, he'd have to eat a whole planet to get filled, and so we have to stop him. Yep, same thing.
So, okay, let us talk about the plan. So, Celestial makes deviants.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Sends deviants to a planet to eat things, to eat the predators, right? And then he's like, but then they became predators themselves, which is what they always were, because you sent them to hunt and kill the monsters on the planet. They were already predators. They didn't become predators. They were predators when you sent them. They just did what predators do, and they started eating other things. You're an idiot. One. But then he's like, so then I had to make Eternals to go hunt down the other guys, right?
Yeah.
That should only happen one time. But from this movie, it happens over and over and over. Are you telling me you send deviants every time, and then every time are like, well, shoot, they're out of control again. I can't believe this keeps happening. You better send the Eternals in. That happens one time, and then you just send Eternals. You don't send these other creatures. You send the Eternals because you can control them better. He's like, there was a fault in their programming, but then stop sending them. They shouldn't be on all the planets every time. That's insanity. I don't understand.
It's dumb. So they go to the Amazon and they meet Dreeg's cult, which I don't understand. And then we have
it doesn't make any sense.
We have the big forest attack, and it's like Thena going rogue, and then it's just this big fight. And then the deviant eats Gilgamesh, and then he turns into like a humanoid thing and says some words that you thought were going to lead to something, like they were going to have to maybe team up with him. But no, not really.
Here's what I thought was going to happen, Dan.
Okay, what do you think was going to happen?
Icarus, evil Superman, kicking everyone's ass, right, at the end of the movie. Boom, 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 I'm going to stop you all. They're like, hey, we need to make a Unimind, but we can't do it. You know how you make a Unimind? You all sacrifice yourself to this deviant who is sucking up your powers, so you all kill yourselves so that he becomes superpowered and kills Superman. End of movie. Hey, that's emotional. Great stuff. But they didn't do that. Instead, they just make this character in the movie and then just kill him off at the end for no reason.
Tony, I'm going to show you a picture.
Okay, show me a picture.
This is what a deviant...
Is this a sexy picture?
Yes, a sexy picture. This is what a deviant looks like in the comic books.
Oh, okay.
He's like this crazy monster carcass.
Yeah, he's cool. He's
cool.
Yeah.
These deviants are so stupid. And when he turns into a thing, he's so stupid. And it's
stupid. Who chose the art direction for them. Because are there other comics where maybe they look less cool?
I mean, all the old Jack Kirby ones, they're all like these crazy things that are like insane and bonkers. And they talk and they have personalities and they mean things.
What?
Oh, yeah. They're not dinosaurs. It's all, that is not what it's about.
That is a bad choice, then. I'll just go on having no knowledge of the comics whatsoever. That's a bad choice.
So then Cersei turns one of them into a tree. And
I don't understand.
The big one escapes.
I don't understand what happens with the tree. Can you explain
why that's important? Because she couldn't turn people into trees before.
Right, but now she can? Why? Like, I don't get it.
She needs to have the tree ability. And more importantly, everybody's like, this is important. And you're like, why?
Why?
Who cares
Someone
if she
tell me. For the first, there's so much exposition in this movie, but at this moment, I'm like, someone tell me why this matters. I don't understand what just happened. I fully, to be honest, didn't totally understand her powers before, and now I understand them even less.
They're just transmutation powers. And
but
so,
not on living beings.
So maybe you could turn a rock into a different kind of rock, but now she's turning a deviant into a tree. So, but then again, when she uses, more importantly, when she uses her powers at the end, she turns something living into a rock.
Oh, we'll talk about her powers at the end, Dan. Don't you worry.
So then they go to Chi-Town, and which one's he? No, Hephaestus has like a husband and a kid, and then like he's like, I'm not going. I've got a husband and a kid, and then the husband just walks out and goes, No, you're going. It's like so weird.
Yeah, I have a problem with this relationship.
Yeah.
Neither of them are invested. I just mean the characters.
They kiss.
Do they? That is the
sort of
least sexy kiss I've ever seen in my life. It's like two, and I don't know these actors personally. Like, I don't know what their status is. To me, this looks like two extremely straight men just mashing their lips together and grimacing while they do it. There is no emotion in this kiss whatsoever. It is the last time that they think they're going to see each other, and they just kind of smush together for a second. Give me something to feel, you guys. Worst on-screen kiss I've seen in a while.
If you hired Tony to go out there and kiss, like, say, Paul, what's his name? The guy that died in the car crash, Paul Walker.
Paul Walker, you don't have to pay me anything, Dan. I will French the shit out of him for free. I mean, he's not going to like it. I'll tell you that right now.
Tony's ready to go.
We'd have to give him a little money, but I'll tongue him up.
So now we go to Iraq. Oh, another thing about this movie is everybody walks in concert. They walk in V formations. They line up in V formations.
The flying V is everywhere in this movie. Oh my God, I hate it. The imagery's terrible. Ugh.
I wrote Makari the Stealer. Why did I write that?
Because she's the speedster and she steals.
Oh, she's the speedster. Oh, she's so boring. Oh, God, that character's so boring.
Also, and I know it's hard to make a movie, and I know special effects are very expensive, but I would argue that the effects from Smallville in the early 2000s did speedsters better than this movie does. Hands down.
You watch the Flash TV show, and
I do.
It's much better.
Fantastic. Yeah, because they get it. They get it. This movie does not get it. Very upsetting.
So they figure out they're going to make the Unimind, which is like a super Eternal, and then they're going to try to put the Eternal to sleep. Like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't care.
So now we go 6 days ago, and we find out that what's his name's the bad guy. Icarus is actually our bad guy. And
were you ever in doubt of that?
No, I really thought the bad guy was the idea of trying to put something to sleep. I really thought that was the big bad. I was like, oh, this is the big bad is we have to put something to sleep. That's what I thought the big bad was.
This guy. Here we go.
I really thought that was going to be the big bad.
So in the beginning, I was like, oh, he's bad Superman. Without a doubt, that's what we're doing. But then as the movie went along, I started thinking, oh, maybe he's just not good at acting. And like he's acting evil, but everyone thinks he's not. So I was like, maybe I'm not supposed to think he's evil, and he's just not performing very well. And then he became evil. I was like, oh, okay, no, that was it the whole time. They tipped the bit, like the first line that he's in, he's a dick. So I went on a real roller coaster, and then full circle. I
was fooled because I was just like, he's just a dick. I just assumed he was a dick. So he throws her to the Deviants. The big bad eats Ajax, and then he takes his body and dumps it, and then he's sort of rage filled, sort of, or maybe he's faking like the fight. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
Who cares?
That's fine. Yeah.
So we're like, oh, volcano. So volcano starts going. And then we go to the volcano.
Yeah.
And then this is the point at which Icarus is like, I'm the bad guy. Ha ha. Yep. Everybody decide if you want to be part of the bad guy. And Sprite's like, I'm in. And then Kingo is like, nah, I'm going home.
Yeah. Yeah. he just bounces. I mean, now that it's over and I look back, I find that very funny.
Oh
And I'm
yeah.
like, oh, what an interesting idea. It's just one of your characters just like, never mind, this was a mistake. I'm leaving.
So Hephaestus takes the Ajax sphere and he like makes it into the thing or bracelets
So
or something.
that's why this mattered to me. I forgot why it mattered. Because it seems like nobody knows what it is. And maybe they do, and I'm just misreading the situation. But immediately he's like, hey, let me take this out of you. We've never done this before, ever in a million years. I know exactly how to take it out of you. Let me do it.
Well, he can do that
That
with all their energy. Yeah.
what do you mean? What does that mean? He just does it with the energy. What does that mean, Dan? He's taking a somehow physical orb that is inside of a body.
No, it's not physical. It's not
It looks
physical.
physical.
No, it doesn't. It glows into her. It's more their energy. It's all like all their stupid energy magic.
I don't know, man.
Whatever.
Then why does it even need to be an orb? What does that mean?
We drive the ship up there, and then goddamn Icarus like cuts the ship in half with his eyeballs. Like he's having like a hard time fighting a little lizard, and like the ship that's as big as
doesn't make
big as
any
the moon.
sense.
He's cut in half.
All of a sudden, he's like the most powerful thing in the world. Wah wah wah. Stupid.
So there's a big fight. Everyone's fighting, and then Cersei's like fighting, and Sprite makes like all these volcanoes, and then Sprite sneaks up and stabs her through, and then
It's a dick move.
Drake has to like hit Sprite with a rock.
Yeah. So what a weird turn of events there, right? There's no fight to it. She gets stabbed, and then someone just sneaks up behind her and punches her. It's okay. Super fun.
So then Athena kills the Deviant because I think that happens.
Well,
isn't that what happens? I wrote that down. Maybe I was wrong.
I don't know.
Then I wrote Q love.
No, Athena gets killed by the Deviant.
No, Athena lives.
Athena lives. She cuts his face up. That's what it is.
Like she's getting drained, and then she's like, fooled you.
Sing, 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 sing. Yeah.
Ginsu's the hell out of the thing.
And we forgot exactly what happened because it's so unimportant to the story that character doesn't need to be in the movie. It's an interesting idea, this thing that feeds and takes, like, it seems like it takes part of the personality even, and like maybe some of their memories. Like, that's interesting to me, but you don't do anything with it, and then you just kill it. And I was like, what the fuck? That's 45 minutes of the movie we could just take out.
It didn't have anything to do with the movie.
Had nothing to do with the story, no character development, absolutely nothing, totally tangential, and we could cut this runtime a bunch.
Except that we were able to make like a climate change thing because they were in the permafrost, and then climate change let them get free. Oh,
yeah.
Made me so angry.
Yeah.
Climate change is like so important when you use it as the world's dumbest plot point.
Yep.
It comes across as you using it as the world's dumbest plot point and you not taking it seriously.
No one takes it seriously. We just watched Don't Look Up. They didn't even take it seriously. It's bad stuff. We're in deep trouble.
So
as a planet.
Cersei's like, I gotta get closer to it. The old classic, I gotta get closer to it. That like. So it's coming up. It's this big hand in the island, and then she just like touches it, and then everybody's energy flows into her, and then she turns it into a rock.
Oh, interesting. It's marble, huh? Like a marble rock. I thought it was snow. I thought you turned it into snow, and I was like, oh, are they going to think it's an iceberg? It's not what happened.
It's a rock, Tony. Rock.
It's a rock. Okay, yeah, it's a rock.
She turns it into a rock.
So, again, this Unimind thing.
Yeah.
And then she's like, and the Celestial gave me power as well. How did he do it? We had to make special bands that everyone had to wear. They gave them special bracelets so they could siphon their power together, right?
Once again, the Unimind is one of those classic weird Jack Kirby things where, like, Darkseid had the anti-life equation.
Sure.
And, like Reed Richards defeated Thanos with, like, what is the ultimate nullifier? He would just make up these crazy things, and then, like, Mother Box. He'd just make up these crazy things, and then they would, they just do crazy Jack Kirby stuff. And so he's like the Unimind, where everyone comes together and blah 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 blah. And it works in a comic. In this thing, it it's not set up at all.
And so
it's like
my problem is the setup is because he's like, in order to meld our minds into the Unimind, we have to have these special bracelets that I made. But then in the end, they don't need the special bracelets because anyone can join in. So if you set it up properly, I'm okay with crazy ideas. But don't give me a crazy idea that shouldn't work and then like change it halfway. I don't know. I just get so frustrated with these people.
Now, Tony.
Yes.
I'm your boss. Okay.
I know.
I'm God.
Oh.
And
okay.
I've made you out of...
You're the big boss.
I've made you out of like a little bit of earwax.
Clay.
Molded, and there's Tony. Okay. And you're supposed to go...
Great job, by the way. You did wonderful.
You're supposed to go protect Earth.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Now, I've got all these other little earwax monsters that I've made that are working with you.
Sure.
And they
know what this reminds me of? Is Rita Repulsa making her clay monsters from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Same thing.
Continue.
Same. Yeah. Well, pretty much the same thing.
It is the same thing now that we talk about it.
So I've made all of you guys, and then I send you to do this, and then all the others betray me because they think that they're real human boys, and it's really embarrassing.
The real Pinocchio
but
story.
But you're my guy. You're my guy, right?
So I'm Icarus.
You're Icarus.
Got it.
So after everybody turns and screws me over, what are you going to do? Are you going to come back and help me continue my work, or are you going to fly into the fucking sun?
Well, here's the thing is that his namesake pretty much dictates that he has to do that.
There it is.
Maybe it's in his programming, Dan. Maybe he's like, if you ever betray me, you got to fly into the sun. I gave you a name for a reason.
But he didn't betray God, did he?
He cried at the end, right? Because he ended up not killing Cersei. That was his betrayal, is like, I have to kill you so you don't stop this. But he's like, his eyes glowed, and then he was like, I can't kill you because I just love you too darn much.
He stopped.
So he stopped. So he had to kill himself.
Find the sun, you jerk.
Yeah.
And then...
But also, like, what a stupid idea. Like, I don't... he's just like, oh, man, I blew it. I'm going to go kill myself. What? Why doesn't he just join them then?
Sure seems like he found some humanity, and he should probably join them. And probably
maybe head over heels for this lady.
Maybe do something good. Why he like abandoned her and just flew away like 1,000 years earlier? Who knows?
Yeah, he's clearly, he's unstable. That's what it is. Just he's not great in a relationship. He's afraid of commitment. That's what it is. He's a commitment phobe.
If you're afraid of commitment, do you have like a marriage ceremony in India?
I mean, if I live for 7,000 years, maybe. I don't know, because then you could get married a couple times, really.
Sure. So then there's excess energy, and so they turn Sprite into like, you're a real child now.
Okay, we got to talk about this real quick, Dan, because
here's my question.
Yeah, what's your question?
If you were Cersei, wouldn't you turn yourself into a real human too? So you can
she wants to live forever, dude. She doesn't want to grow old and die. She's like, I'm very pretty, and I would like to stay very pretty, because I would make that choice too. If I could stop myself from aging right now, I would, because I'm so beautiful that I need to stay like this forever in porcelain. Here's my problem, Dan. Is she just knows that she can do this? She's never done this before. She knew up until this moment she couldn't do it, but she's like, boy, I still feel some of this celestial inside.
She does a lot of power. That's a lot of power. If you're like cooked up to a celestial, you got a lot of power.
She has a lot of power, but how does she know how to turn that power into making someone alive?
Oh, because she can turn you into a tree. It's like turning into a tree.
She can't.
She's turning a robot into a opposite. She's turning a robot into a human being. That's life, turning a thing into a life.
But how do you know how to? No, Dan. No, I'm out.
She can turn a live thing into a rock. She can turn a rock into a live thing. She can turn a deviant into a tree.
With that.
She can do all of them. She can go rock to living thing to rock to rock,
You're
living
really
thing to living
on
thing.
The rock here.
Do it all.
But only with rocks. That's what I'm getting from this conversation.
Here's the part I think you like the best in the movie. So they all go to North Dakota to go to Ajax's house for some reason.
Yeah, for no reason whatsoever.
Even like Hephaestus's boyfriend is there.
Yep.
And kid.
Why?
It was so weird.
Don't know why.
We got this set for another couple of days. Fly in some actors. Let's do it.
Bring them in. Let's see what happens.
Now we have what is the worst bit of all time. Angelina Jolie as Athena sticking her hand in a toaster.
Yeah. And what?
I think that she was like, I need a comedy bit. This is the point at which I get to do this like comedy bit where because I have the mad weary, I don't know what a toaster is anymore.
You think she came to set with this idea? She dreamt about it the night before, woke up in the middle of the night, she wrote that down. She's like, this is some good shit.
Yeah.
Bringing it to the director tomorrow.
Yeah. I think she was sitting in her hotel room in the Four Seasons and she was watching old reruns of what's the improv comedy show, like
Whose line is it
Whose
anyway?
Line is it anyway? And she saw that thing where they like reach into the box and they pull out the funny hats, and she's like, "I can do this shit. These guys are not that funny. I am Ryan. What's his name? I can do this. I'm Wayne Brady. I'm doing this bit."
It was so dumb. She's putting her whole hand. Why? Even if you didn't know what a toaster is, Dan, is your first move to put your hand inside of it for no reason?
Doesn't look like the place to put your hand. It's like, oh, the furnace. Let me stick my hand in. No.
It's just ridiculous.
So Sprite has to go to school. It's like, I don't want to go to school. Man.
But you wanted to be human, you idiot.
and Kingo shows back up and he's all like, hey, I guess that worked out.
Good job, guys. Good job. I'm still here for the sequel.
So then she goes back to see Kit Harington, and they're like, oh, I love you. And then the weather gets bad, and then the big Celestial comes up, and he's like, oh, you've been to bad world. Now we're going to judge you in Eternals 2, the trial of humanity. Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, I have a question on this, because... What? Why is he all of a sudden okay with? He's like, I'll let them live, but we're gonna judge and see if they're worthy of living. He doesn't care if they're worthy of living. That's not why he put them on the planet. He didn't put the thing in the planet because he's like, these guys are unworthy. I better kill them all. It was just the plan.
Here's what I'm gonna say. As I remember it from not reading the comic book, I always remembered it that the Celestials were going to come at some point and judge us. I think that was actually Kirby's.
That was the whole thing.
Eternals plot was that at some point the Celestials are going to come here and judge humanity.
But then the rest of it doesn't make any sense because he was going to kill them without judging them.
I think in the comic books, the celestial judging of humanity came first, and this Tiamat bowl was probably a secondary thing that somebody else wrote later.
Or maybe that's like what happens when you fail is like, okay, well then we're going to explode your planet real quick.
Could be.
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense, though, in this movie. Doesn't make any sense.
Now we get the two bonus things. We get Starfox and Pip showing up on the spacecraft and saying, oh, we're all us people on Titans, we're also Eternals.
Yep, which ruins everything.
The Pip character was one of the most horrible things in all of them.
Oh, good. I thought you were going to say that you liked it at first, and I was like, oh, no, Dan, I'm going to fight you.
Pip is a character that Jim Starlin made up in the Warlock series. And Pip is like this obnoxious little troll. And when Jim Starlin draws him, he's great. This thing looked like the biggest piece of CGI shit that I've ever seen. And was Seth Rogen doing that voice? Who was doing that voice?
Oh, I have no idea. I didn't care that much.
And who was playing Starfox?
That is Harry Styles.
Oh, he's horrible.
Of course he's horrible. He's a musician. What the fuck is he doing in a Marvel movie? Get him out of here. What is he, Ed Sheeran all of a sudden? Just being like, I want to be in... when he showed up, I was like, I'm out. I'm not going to see the sequel now. I refuse to see the sequel. Unless we do it for this stupid show, I am not seeing a sequel if they make it.
Ooh, he was horrible.
Yeah, he's not charming. He's not interesting. And I understand that people find him very attractive. I don't get it. And you can judge me for being ugly if you want, but I don't get him. I don't get it. He is not attractive. What a dope.
And then the second bonus scene is Kit Harington gets out the Black Knight's sword and is like,
okay, so you know what this is, because I didn't understand what was happening at all.
I had to look it up. I was like, I barely caught that the swordsman was the swordsman in Hawkeye, and he's like the best part is Hawkeye, actually.
All right.
Yeah, I had to look it up, and I was like, "Oh, it's the Black Knight." Okay,
Okay.
I read Black Knight comics when I was a kid.
Yeah, I didn't get it at all. I was just like, okay, well, if he gets his own movie, I'm on board.
Well, he's just
But
going to
other
be
than
part
that,
of
I
the
don't
next.
understand.
He's
See, that
just
bums me out.
he just has a magic sword, and he flies around on a flying horse. That's it.
That's cool.
Yeah, so he'll get a flying horse, so he can keep up
I'm
with
ready for that.
everybody.
Well, that's good. Otherwise, he'd have to walk very slowly with heavy armor. It'd be tough.
The old heavy armor problem. Yeah, so that's the movie.
Boy, this is a tough one to swallow.
It was bad, and it was 2 hours and 37 minutes. Of
It
bad.
is for sure the longest movie we've done, right? I guess I can't confirm that.
Oh
but,
no, I think Tenet was longer, wasn't it?
Was it?
Can
I say something?
Yeah.
Not that I remember Tenet that well,
Better
but
movie.
I don't remember it feeling this long. This movie felt days.
Tenet, probably better movie, and I hate Tenet.
Tenet's so bad.
So stupid. Although I'd watch Tenet and this movie before I'd watch Don't Look Up again. Don't Look Up, it's so terrible.
Don't Look Up frustrates me more than the other two, I think. Just because I think it should have been better.
At least this thing and Tenet were movies.
Yeah.
Don't Look Up wasn't a movie.
Yeah.
It was
hardly a PSA.
Kind of a screed. Anything else to say about this pile of junk?
The only other thing I wanted to say that I forgot to talk about is when I lost respect for Kit Harington's character. He found out that his current girlfriend had dated a guy for 5,000 years and made a joke about it. Well, I guess you could call that long term. No, dude, you're going to be a little bit more shook than that. 5,000 years they were together. You've been together for what, 2 months? You're going to be a little upset about it.
You would not be upset. You would be like, I am so freaking hot. She's with that chump. That dude kept her happy for 5,000 years. And
I came along and I showed her what's what.
This beard is doing its work.
I mean, I agree. Kit Harington, I would leave Icarus for Kit. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he got killed at the Red Wedding. Kit, ran the world.
Yeah, Jon Snow.
He's like the boss. His brother's just like lame brother.
Yeah.
Okay, so now's the point at which we talk about things we liked or didn't like or whatever. We get a bonus time. This is bonus time.
The BT.
What you got for bonus time, Tony?
Okay, I first want to say in general, I don't understand why we are physically incapable of making a multicam sitcom this day and age. I don't understand.
You like that stupid Kevin James one.
I liked it, but it wasn't great. I'm fine.
Yes, exactly. It was garbage. Gotcha moment.
God dang it, I blew it.
Okay.
I love multicam sitcoms. I find they're like my comfort food.
You watched How I Met Your Father, didn't you?
I watched How I Met Your Father. The least funny show I've ever seen in my entire life. Oh my God, Dan. It is it is so bad. And I love Hilary Duff. Love her.
Yeah.
This is the least so there's no jokes. I must have missed them. I didn't laugh one time during the pilot.
Oh, I'm gonna watch the pilot now.
I don't even understand what they're doing. It is so painfully bad to me. And it breaks my heart. I don't understand what's happening in the world. I love multicam sitcoms, and we forgot how to write jokes, I think. I don't know what happened. But that show's awful. The show's really, truly terrible. If you like it, you are the problem. I will die on that hill right now.
Okay.
But I do want to say we did find something that we did enjoy this week, which is Joe Millionaire.
Oh, is it like the new one? Like one guy's new. It's like a dating show, and one guy's a millionaire, and one guy's just
and one guy's not. But they don't know which is which, and it's
the girls
the
don't
trashiest. Yeah, the girls don't know which is which. It's trash TV, and it is brilliant. We're having a great time with it. So that's my week.
Well, my wife. So I'm sitting here. My wife walks. My wife walks in here, and she hands me a Post-it note. I'm like, "What's this?" She's like, "These are your record," because she just watched a couple episodes of this show, which she never watches them. I'm like, these are your recommendations for next week. I'm like, what do you mean? You're giving me my recommendations?
That's right, Dan, because
So,
your
like,
recommendations are trash.
there's a little note.
Oh, this is great.
Archive 81 on Netflix.
Okay.
Fun. We're a couple episodes in. Really interesting.
Archive 81.
Something, The Puppet Master on Netflix, about this crazy guy that manipulated all these people in real life.
Oh, boy.
F is for Family. She's been watching that show, which has been on for like 10 seasons.
Yep, for sure.
I don't like it, but
that's okay.
It's not bad. It's just a little, a little of him goes a long way for me.
Sure.
Especially that character. But my real pick is
okay.
Netflix's Cheer Season 2. Oh my God, so good.
Is that the mascot one? No, that's Mascot U. What is this?
Cheer is about this junior college cheerleading.
Right.
The two program. They did a first season, which you should probably watch the first season. But this new season just dropped, and so I just watched the new season.
Sure.
And it's about these two programs that are the two top programs fighting for fighting for one spot, basically. And we follow them. And it starts in COVID and a bunch of crazy. The first season was about the one program going there and winning. This season's kind of about the two programs and which one's going to come out on top. Just so great. All the characters so interesting. It's just a sports story. Your classic sports stories about these people that are trying to do this thing, this athletic thing, and all that goes with it. Yeah,
that's great.
Super worth watching. I think there's 9 episodes.
That's not bad.
40 minutes long or so, 40, 45. Just, the characters of reality are just, you watch the stupid Eternals and you're like, can you just make some human beings that freaking cry? Did anybody even cry in this movie?
Didn't Icarus cry a little? Yeah, he cried when he couldn't kill Cersei.
He
cried at the
couldn't
end.
Kill his girlfriend of 5,000, his wife of 5,000 years. Like one tiny tear that I didn't even notice happens.
And then he flew into the sun. So I don't know what that says about mental health, guys, but it's not good.
We have a whole Hiroshima scene, and it's the most devoid of emotion scene I've ever seen in a movie. Hiroshima, one of the darkest events of this planet that you should know, this is in a light Marvel superhero movie, Hiroshima, and it's not emotional. There's more. There's this. The one head coach gets into conflict with this one kid, and then they sort of patch it up at the end. I'm spoiling it, but
spoilers alert, guys.
So emotional.
Yeah.
These are people that are getting stabbed in the heart by text messages.
Sure.
And you can't make Hiroshima emotional.
Yeah, it's a real swing and a miss.
Shame on you.
Shame.
So, Tony, what have you got for us for next week?
Well, what I got, I forgot to do the math, but I think this is as close as I'm going to get to the right time to do this. I believe this should be somewhere in early February when we air this, what I'm about to pick, which is, of course, Valentine's Day, the movie.
Oh, it's about love or about people being stabbed for love?
Let's get into it, you guys. I want to feel love. Everybody deserves love, and that's what I think this movie's about. I don't know.
Oh, dear. It's a comedy, I take it?
Yeah, I think it's like a rom-com. I think it's similar to a New Year's Eve that we watched, which was really great. So it's that sort of a bunch of different people, coming together, I think. I never saw it, but I'm excited. I'm excited about it. It's going to be good. I'm pretty sure Kutcher's in it as well.
Does it have a name?
Valentine's Day. That's what it's called.
Oh, Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the same thing as it's the same team as New Year's. Oh God.
Exactly. So we have to watch it for Valentine's Day because it's coming up.
For Valentine's Day. For Valentine's Day, we got to do it for the Valentine's Day.
You got to do it for Valentine's Day. What are you going to do? You're not going to do it. You're going to do it. Let's do it. I'm ready, man.
Okay, well, if you like what you heard, subscribe, leave us a comment, smash that like button. And next week we're going to be back talking about Valentine's Day, somewhat hopefully close to Valentine's Day.
I think it's close.
And just Tony and I we share a bond of love.
And I'm going to do the whole thing in sultry tones.
Oh, yeah. This is the point at which they get it on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to make a prediction.
Okay.
I'm going to predict that one total couple gets it on in this movie.
Okay, you think it's one? I'll take the over under on that. I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means?
Well, you have to either take the over or the under.
But don't they always say I swear I hear people be like, I'll take the over under on that. Oh no, they say what's the over under?
Yeah.
I don't know how to bet. I will take the over.
The over under is like 1.5, right? So if it's 1.5, you say, I'll take the over. You know, what's the over under on that? It's 1.5, and then you say, I'll take the over and I'll take the under.
How do they do 1.5 hookups? Is that just like a
that means if you take the over 1.5, there's 2 to 1,000 or 2 to 1,000,000.
Okay.
Or 2 to infinity. And then if you take the under, it's 1 or 0.
I'm taking the over. I think this is going to be a Randy movie. I'll tell you that right now.
I don't think it is.
I'll even put, instead of just doing over, I'm going to do over 3. So I think it's 4+ couples.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do 2.5. Tony's taking the over. I'm taking the under.
This is my first real bet of my life.
This is your first real bet of your life? You've never done fantasy football.
I've done fantasy football, but I play for free. I don't pay for it because I'm not good at betting.
Tony doesn't pay. Tony doesn't pay for it. Okay, you've never been in an office pool where you put in $10 and then you pick all the numbers on the Super Bowl chart? You've never done that.
No, I've never done that.
You've never done any bet for money ever.
Other than like going to Vegas the one time, and then I wasn't allowed to do it anymore because I lost a bunch of money.
How much money did you lose in Vegas?
Enough.
How much did you lose?
It was like 1,600.
Jesus, Tony. So this has been Hate Watching. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Hate Watching.